Oh, are you guys playing Japanese?
I am.
Nice.
I updated the banner. Please retweet that one instead. I'm gonna delete the other one.
We're on the stream, guys.
How beautiful this world is.
PogChamp.
The commander's
Could
put me in charge of
probably
your
hear
maintenance,
you.
man.
It's
Hey,
fine.
can I get some PogChamps in the
That
chat?
means I'll be performing regular checks on you from now
Wait, but
on.
are they live with like this
If anyone is
chat
listening to
too, like this voice chat
there's
too?
something I need you to do.
Oh, good. We've got echoes going on.
If you ever meet up,
Well, yeah,
with
because
your unit
both of
9S,
your audios were going.
He's muting one of them.
I
Don't
want
worry.
him.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do I increase the?
Oh yeah, we are live.
The gain on a
Go
video? I don't
into
remember how to do
advanced
that.
audio settings and your
Yeah.
like things,
The
and you should be able to
percentage.
adjust it over 100% by typing it in.
Alright, there we go. I think that's actually maybe okay. Can someone who can hear the stream tell me whether it's okay?
Yeah, let me mute myself real quick.
It's a little annoying that I have to set up the audio.
Yeah,
like
we're good.
this, but- Alright, cool. So then, in that case, you just get myself fully ready and
We're
we'll
not
start.
so different after all.
So, are we featuring to run his FFC channel?
I think it sounds okay. I just didn't hear much talking, so it's hard to see if that
androids
works.
were designed to
Oh, well,
protect
we're all
their
talking
human
now,
masters.
so
Even
just
if it's
listen to it
pointless,
now.
you still have to
Well, in
kill
30
them.
seconds.
Yep.
You two are the
Chat's happy, guys.
members
Yep.
of your
Yep.
Okay. Great. Give me 1 second so that I can actually see chat. And
That's not the operator.
be good to go.
It's
You guys ready for some
Please.
swag?
All of
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh
Mhm.
man.
Are you gonna
Some
pod
ultra
launch
swag.
lasers? Or no,
Alright, I
better skip.
think we're good.
I mean, this
Hey,
whole
chat.
speedrun is all swag.
Chat. Can I
I
get
think
some
we're good.
abs knuckles in the chat?
You could boost the audio a tiny bit more, but I think we're good.
Knuckles.
Oh frick.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Everything looks okay to me. So, I think we're ready. You guys can count me down whenever you want.
Oh, sick. Okay, wait. Let's go make the files.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Alright,
Nice.
good luck, guys. You guys better be memeing.
Oh, we will.
Look, my controller.
Wait, Fullest, you're in English.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
Keep acting up again.
I got this.
So my file is named LL.
So the load times and RTA is a lot quicker. What the heck? Hello? Was that me? Disconnecting and reconnecting?
No, I was moving you guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh.
So the reason they're running in Japanese is because it's faster RTA due to the load time screens.
You'll see it in.
Yeah,
see it.
you'll.
So I'm ready when you are.
Ready to go.
All right. I guess I'll count us down.
Yep.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
everything that
Knuckles.
lives is designed to end.
Yes.
We are perpetually trapped
I am
in a
lagging
never-ending
now.
spiral of life and death.
So,
Is this a curse?
hello everyone. This
or
is
some
NieR
kind of
Automata,
punishment?
the A ending speedrun.
I often think about the
In
God
this
who
speedrun,
blessed
we're
us
going
with
to
this
get
cryptic
to the
puzzle,
first ending
and
as
wonder if
quickly
we'll
as
ever
possible,
Have the chance to kill him.
which is approximately 1 hour and 30 to 40 minutes ish.
Yes.
This is Command.
I'm Fullest, and
Squadron Command
running
2B
against me here is
All units have
MarbleSoda.
penetrated the stratosphere.
Say hi.
Autopilot systems green across the board.
And then we are your
Operator
commentators.
60.
I'm
All units
Shabu,
confirmed.
also known as Team
We've
Trash
passed
F,
the 50
and
kilometer threshold and are
Kanaris.
proceeding toward the target. Understood. Once you reach their
And ours is
anti-air
mic is
gun,
muted for some
Oh, yeah.
reason.
manual
For some
attack
reason.
formation. Then
He'll
destroy
be back,
the
I'm
Lion-class
sure.
unit by any
He'll be
means
here in a
necessary,
sec.
and gather what data you can. Understood.
I'm sure something just went up. So, this is a game by Square Enix and Yoko Taro, and it's the sequel to kind of the cult classic series of NieR and Drakengard. You guys actually have more information. I'm not as well versed as most people are.
11 feet
Me either.
down. Our HOT
I
9
actually did not
transports are
play the
ineffective.
original, surprisingly. I do plan
Me
on it,
neither.
but I have not played it as of yet.
Alert. Enemy
It'd be an
unit sighted
interesting
ahead.
experience.
Hey, I'm here.
Requesting
This is
permission to
Canaris.
engage.
There we go.
We back, baby. Yeah. Alright, so
78
this
down.
first bit's an auto-scroller. Well, it's kind of auto. You have to kill the waves as quickly as possible, but for the most part, we can't do much to speed it up.
There are a couple AI manipulations that they do. Did they do the first one already?
20 down.
Yep.
Assuming
Yeah,
capacity.
they did the first one already, and basically just kind of pushing someone over. You can see Fullest is doing the one that was just recently found. We haven't really had a lot of time to test it out, but didn't quite go exactly how it's supposed to. But it's supposed to kill the entire wave on that side. You can push him out of the screen during the section where she says she's taking over as captain, and then it kills those guys before they get on screen.
So this opening shoot 'em up is going to go for about 4 minutes 30, I think, and then we'll transition into what the game mostly is, which is like 3D action on foot combat. But we do have a couple of these shmup sections throughout the run, especially one big one which all the speedrunners hate, but you know, whatever. So we're coming into the second part of the opening shmup now. It's basically just dialogue and storyline for the most part.
Operator to 2B. We need you to rendezvous with Unit 9
My
and begin gathering data
my
on
stream
the
on
local
Fullest
terrain.
is actually
Understood.
buffering. Rip time.
Also, through this segment, I'm sure Fullest is doing it as well. Purposely take damage here, because we're trying to use up our large and medium recoveries. So if we have to use our weapon buff, we have less menu to scroll through.
Yeah, that's something that I first saw from Remitsu. I don't know who actually did it first.
Yeah, I think it was Remitsu.
Oh, I messed this up. Ah!
No quick struts.
So what are the quick
Oh, gosh.
strats, Norris? If you could explain that.
What's world record?
Oh my gosh! I mean, for the viewers, we're commentating. We're supposed to be explaining
basically
these
just
things.
you go where the enemies are going to be spawning and take them as quickly as possible.
Alert.
Kind of hard to like explain every single
Yes,
strat.
I'm aware of
But anyway,
that.
so here we are coming into 3D action, and as I said, this is what most of the game is going to be like. You're going to see some really cool tech throughout the whole run whenever we're doing combat.
Marble just got the most unfortunate of these small guys twice, actually. These small guys can throw out these arms that just like whirly arms.
Oh god, the whirly arms.
The hitbox is ginormous. It's horrible,
Yep.
and a lot of the
It's-
time it'll make you do a perfect dodge, which costs some time.
Yeah. Okay, so you might notice that they're flashing their flashlight at the enemies, and what that is a
That on
taunt.
target?
Now, after a few flashes, the enemies will become taunted and they become red and steamy, and that means that they are dealing and receiving 1.5 times the damage. And that lasts for 15 seconds.
Yeah,
It's not-
roughly.
Yeah, taunting isn't a mechanic that's known by casual players until a certain point in the storyline.
And even then, you're not really told that you can do it with the camera.
Yeah, no.
That's only with A2. Another thing that haven't actually pointed out yet is the spinning sword. They're doing the same exact attack over and over and over again. You're probably wondering how that does more damage. Well, when you input these different inputs on the controller, which is dash, which is what Marble's doing now, and heavy attack at pretty much the relatively the same time, or a litlittle bit after, it confuses the game, and for some reason,
What is it?
increases the damage by, can Aris knows how much?
5 times.
5 times.
Crazy.
About 5 times.
Exit confirmed.
I didn't know if you had the
we call
exact
that-
decimals.
We call that a damage glitch, so we'll be referring to that a lot throughout the run.
And eventually we will be throwing out 2 swords, and we'll be doing double damage glitch, which is relatively new. If the last time you watched this run was at SGDQ, a lot has changed.
Yep.
The run is almost entirely different.
So you're in for a treat. We didn't touch on the aerial movement, did we? One of the most appealing aspects of this run, apart from the combat, is 2B's insane capacity for aerial movement. She can gain a lot of height, as you'll see here. Marbles is attempting a bridge skip, an infamously difficult high jump. You got it second try, which is great.
It's awesome. Fullest also got it. Good job, guys.
So that's really precise, a lot more precise than it looks.
And you used every single height gaining ability pretty much in your arsenal to do that trick. And almost pretty much, it's not the most generous window either.
Close range combat is advised.
So something else that we should point out about the combat is that if you haven't played casually, I'll explain to you. The player has this pod program, and the pod is the thing hovering above 2B right now, and that can provide Gatling fire like it is right now, and it can also fire a laser, which is called the pod program. So we're going to be using the laser for a couple of quick kills on bosses, and also very heavily throughout the prologue here that I'm using to clear out waves quickly. And there's another technique we'll be using with the pod that we'll demonstrate it shortly, because it's very clear to see what it does.
But couldn't find anything
So another...
Maybe they, I don't know, moved it somewhere?
So another thing you'll see pretty often is what Marble's doing right now, which is a plunge. And that's just a very fast angled downward attack, and it just allows you to get from high places to the ground as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
It's not like Command to get a location wrong. I guess even they get bad intel
they're-
from time to time, huh?
They're both
So
going
Mars-
into Mars too.
Yeah. So we saw earlier Marks 1, which was that claw industrial machine thing. This is Marks 2, and there are actually 2 of these, but we only have to fight one in the speedrun, because when you get this one to half health and it finishes its first attack, the mini boss fight is over and the real boss fight begins.
So that's what causes this kind of awkward moment of just nothing, and then the boss kind of gyrates and dies. Is that you just killed it too fast for the game.
Yeah. Alright, so here's Big Boy Engels. He is the true boss of the prologue.
Now
And
taking
there's a lot
bets. Now taking bets on if I get punches.
So, everyone hates this boss because he has this bit of RNG in one of his phases where you can lose potentially about 23 seconds just to RNG, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we're going to be crossing our fingers that Marble and Fullest both don't get trash RNG here, but we'll see. This first phase is completely timed, it doesn't matter what happens here. Apart from dealing a little bit of damage to the boss, there's not much going on. So
And
we're going to use this time to explain some things.
Yeah, that's really good.
So go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Go for it.
So you can see there's a little icon popping up above 2B right now on Marble's stream. And and that is the pod program charge icon. That means that Marbles is charging up that laser that we spoke about earlier, and while the laser's charging to a more powerful form, it slows down time by 50%. That slows everything except for 2B and her allies. And that's extremely powerful. It doesn't give more damage, but we can do a lot of stuff with that, including extending across vulnerability cycles.
Yes, no punches.
Marble is about to do something that's not really necessary, but we've all kind of adopted it because it just makes this part easier. When this breaks, you can actually go onto either pipe, the left or the right. Left pipe's better. And basically you just avoid these punches and kind of just mess around for a little bit. And it doesn't save time, but it also keeps you safe and you don't lose time. So unless at the very end you don't get off the pipe, then it does add like a second or something for the camera to go back up to 9S, which you'll see.
And here's technically out of bounds right now, just so you know. A lot of the time in the run we'll be going out of bounds to take the quickest route possible between two objectives, when we can. Other times there'll be a lot of just quick movement. But we're coming to the end of phase 2 now for Marbles.
This is actually one of, I think, 2 that we use out of bounds to avoid boss attacks.
No response to communication.
Because we use it in Factory as well.
Yeah.
You'll often also see the players... Oh, this is a double lift, I should explain that.
Yeah, sure. So there's an ability that we use to gain a lot of height at the start of a combo, and that's called a lift. It's basically just jump plus heavy attack. And if you lift up into a slope, as you're in the lift animation, you actually technically touch the ground, and that refreshes your lift, so you can lift a second time when you're there. It actually grants you 3 jumps as well for the whole combo. Normally you'd only get 2 jumps in this game, but we can abuse double lifts to get very, very high.
And another thing you'll notice is that with cutscenes, you'll see the players jumping or doing that weird spinning kind of attack, which is a dash heavy. A different kind as damage glitch, but I can maybe explain that later. But it basically gets you... a lot of the cutscenes have a walking animation into them that we completely avoid by either jumping and rolling into it or by doing the dash heavy movement into it.
So every time we're doing one of those, it saves about 5 seconds, and that adds up really quickly throughout the run.
So there are a lot of cutscenes.
And we're also obviously skipping all the cutscenes, like advancing them during the cutscenes so we don't have to watch them.
RNG.
If we're not doing that, we're actually physically skipping the triggers for the cutscenes so that we don't have to enter them at all. And we try to do that, but unfortunately the devs have made a lot of mandatory triggers, so we're kind of limited in what we can do, even though we have the technology. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but whatever. So we're coming into Engel's last phase now on Marble Stream.
Swag missiles.
Swag missiles.
Oh yeah.
Those do
So
nothing.
I should also mention what you saw there with the missiles was also pod program. So it's just like the laser, except when you're in a flight unit, it gets transformed into something else, which is... It kind of depends on the perspective the game is in.
I don't remember if Fullest does the buff here or not.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, buffing's slower there.
So we've got a menu boss coming up on Marble's side.
The hardest run.
And then in the longer categories, it can really be punishing because it will play back your menuing that you did in A route. So if you do poorly in the longer runs, it does it again the next time you in the next ending. Sub 15 is pretty good.
I don't know if we've explained this, but basic horizontal movement, at least for now, is just going to be chaining dashes together. It's a lot faster than sprinting, which is surprising, but I suppose it's not surprising. Lots of games have dash spam mechanics that actually go really quick.
Good menu.
Not too bad.
Yeah, that was really good.
Messed up the sound. Voice. Fine though.
At least it's not Whisper.
Yeah.
Whisper's horrible. So this is just some mashing. Just mashing through some text. I don't know if you do the dialogue skip or not, Marbles.
I do not, but I believe
you do not. So
I do.
Yeah. So Fullest on the left is going to be doing something after this mashing dialogue to skip this dialogue that Marble's going to get about the save point, and it's a little stutter step coming out of the room, and he's gonna do something that you'll see a couple times throughout the run to skip other dialogues like that. And he's basically just going to talk to 9S, and 9S is going to be like, "What do you want from me?" And he's going to walk into that
oh my God.
dialogue trigger.
The thing didn't pop up.
No.
Okay.
Can't mass produce these things yet.
Oh, rip.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll see it later.
It only saves 1 second.
Yeah.
Hey, 2B. Why do you think they sent a combat model like
Alright, so
you to a
Marbles is
recon
coming into
job?
another
If all they want is
shmup
intel,
now,
we
the
scanner
second one of the
models are
run.
built
I
for
think
that
there are
kind of
4
thing.
throughout the run.
Orders are orders. Alright.
This one's just a short one, same as before, clearing all the waves as quickly as possible. And he's making good use of the plug program we talked about.
You'll be seeing that a lot in the shmup from now on.
It does have quite a long cooldown, indicated by the little meter next to 2B.
I have already run Route E, actually.
Yeah, Fullest, you're second, right?
Yeah. A Japanese
Behind,
runner named
AB3.
AB3 currently has the world record at like 409 or something.
Yeah, AB3 is a beast. Yeah, we also do have A to Z.
Yep, and Shabu here is the pioneer of A to Z alongside Rametsu, who's another player who's not here. And Fullest has also done some work on it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, A to Z is very long, and I respect you a lot for doing that. It's just so long and tiring.
Rooting it
I haven't
was
even
not
given
fun.
it a go because I'm so scared.
It's draining. If you do it like 5 times, especially with the old route where you did all chapters, that was...
Yeah.
Whew.
Target location acquired. Marking on map. Proposal. Proceed to target
So
location.
again, you'll see the plunge here from Marble, and you just saw the spinning into the cutscene to avoid the walking animation. Saves, adds up real quick. You'll see a little bit of movement tech here, just a little movement trick to get over this barricade, which in casual play you probably wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. We're going to be doing this stuff a lot all around City Ruins, just taking shortcuts where we can.
Yeah, the plunge gives you just a tiny bit of height and gets you over some of those barbed wire areas.
We should probably go talk to their leader first thing.
Well, please.
Alright, so Marble's just picking up an extra medium recovery here. It's not required, it's just safety. Because after the prologue you have all your items that you picked up removed from you.
Oh, by the way, Fullest is doing something interesting. So before you upgrade your sword, which you can do because it's an RPG and they have the ability to weapon upgrade, he's actually doing these dash punches, which are slightly faster than just dashing.
This must have been quite a
So that's
city
something
once
kind of
upon
cool.
a
But
time.
once you upgrade the sword, you will
Too
be
bad
able to do
vegetation's
these
claimed most of it
dash
now.
heavy attacks with the sword. And
Operator 60 to 2B. It is time
just
for
a
your
little bit of
regularly
tech.
scheduled contact.
Marble doing a
This
bit of
is too
zigzag.
Nothing to
Nara's triggered.
How's the weather on Earth today? Good?
It's fine. Does that question have anything to do with
So
our
we picked out
operation?
some fetch quests at the Resistance camp, which is kind of like our new headquarters for the rest of the run.
Feeling nice.
We do go back to the bunker one time, but
Let's get these
yeah,
back to the
we're going to be spending a bit of time around here.
Plant life is
So
filling most of the
we've got
central
2 of these
area.
quests for
Big
the
plants,
traders
too.
at the camp.
Report.
and we've just got to go kill some enemies, pick up some items, and then return to the camp. And then we can get into the really fun stuff.
The run just starts getting super wacky. I feel like it exponentially gets wackier, except for, you know, we don't talk about Grun.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. But then after just a small break in the glitches, and then there's just some nutso stuff. So it's really fun.
That's everything the supply trader asked for. Man, these chores are a real pain in the butt, huh?
Well,
The Resistance is a valuable ally to your hub. By helping them, we also help ourselves.
I'm gonna guess that Fullest is
think they're
fighting,
pain.
so I can hear him rapidly tapping his trigger.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I just my stream of yours was behind, so I didn't know where you were. But I heard that, and I was like, oh, okay, he's doing the biped fight.
Alright, so Marble is now turning in those quests, and once you return in the quest, the vendors start to open up their options a little bit. So this weaponsmith guy lets you upgrade your weapon, which Shabu mentioned. So we now have a level 2 virtuous contract, which is that sword. And what this level gives is some bonus damage, but also importantly it gives bonus attack speed. And that means that Marble is going to be using a new form of movement called dash swinging, or dash heavying. And that's about 5% faster than just chaining dashes together. But yeah, that adds up really quickly throughout the run. But before we got that attack speed upgrade, this wouldn't have actually been faster.
And I do have to say that the movement for that, although like us on running and commentating are pretty used to it, timing is actually fairly precise to actually get value out of it. It's pretty much like right at the end of your dash, or you really won't be getting a whole lot of value out of the dash swinging. So the timing for that, you eventually just kind of get ingrained in your brain and you don't really think about it. But when you're first starting, a lot of people will do shorter dashes and or standing heavy attacks instead.
Yeah.
So we've got a really
pretty
interesting
easy to mess up.
Yeah, sorry about that. Didn't mean to talk over you.
Alright, that's cool. Just really quickly, he's going to be talking to a vendor down here. So he's buying medium recoveries, some buffs. Yep, good, he did actually buy the... I thought he was going to exit the shop without buying medium recoveries, and I was going to have a hoot when he dies later.
He got resilience and stuff too, right?
It's hard to get an
Yeah,
accurate picture.
so he picked up a very important chip. We're going to be equipping a bit later in the run with all the other chips that we equip.
A general idea is good enough.
Basically, I'll explain it when he equips it. Yeah, so right now we're doing a pretty recent skip. You'll notice he picked up the transporter next to the desert supply trader, and so that save point is now unlocked. This skip is going to come into effect and save time later. Right now it's a time loss to pick that up, and he basically just clipped out of bounds and took a beeline from objective to objective to minimize the time loss.
There's gotta be an easier way, right?
So he's still out of bounds, by the way. A lot of out of bounds. This one is pretty precise. You can very easily fall off the edge here. Oh no.
Oh no. I'm not caught up, but...
Oh.
Oh, what are you doing?
I just I accidentally fell through the map there.
The thing with that skip too is it only saves
Fine. I gotta
a
get
few seconds. Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, so that one's pretty tough because you can fall off into the void, and yeah, you're supposed to hit a trigger while being out of bounds so that you can actually progress and then get back into bounds in a more efficient way. But yeah, he fell off unfortunately.
Fullest did get it.
Yep.
So if you wanted to see it, Fullest just did.
I did it!
My DLC one is behind the Twitch.
Is that
Great.
Okay, so Marble just picked up a pod in the desert here. They're actually quite close now.
Yeah, they are.
They like...
They're
like...
They're
Holy
dead
crap.
even. Yeah, because of that, because of the failed cutscene skip.
Okay, so they just picked up a pod. this is another pod we call Pod C, and it acts just like the Pod A that we get from the beginning. You can freely swap between them. And the thing about these pods is that they each have their individual pod program cooldown. So you can laser with Pod A and then swap to Pod C, sorry, and it'll have another laser ready. So you can double laser. We actually use an exploit called triple laser exploit. It does exactly what it sounds like. And yeah, so we'll be using that on the boss coming up.
Fullest is... he got a part of it, got a piece of it. There's a place where rocks are real weird. Rocks are basically just like non-existent in this game, whereas like real rocks, they're just real weird. And you can just slide across them, and so there's a way you can slide through that cutscene and save like less than a second, but it looks cool.
Yeah, and that's the important bit.
So you should probably explain this. You're better explaining this than I am.
Okay. Well, this is a pit skip, or desert housing skip. We're going to be clipping out here to avoid a very windy path throughout the desert housing area here.
And 2 cutscenes.
Yeah, we also avoid 2 cutscenes. That saves like 8 seconds with the cutscenes alone, but this skip in total saves about 45 seconds. And all of this area that Marble's in is out of bounds.
So he's going to pick up... This is a pretty precise skip too, so he's going to pick up a trigger there, and then land on another trigger.
Yeah. He unfortunately, yeah,
Fullest
he
got
did
it.
everything right, except he went down into the pit instead of landing on the platform that he was supposed to.
So he's going to do a backup strike real quick.
Yeah, he's just recovering. And again, you can see 2B's insane aerial movement here.
So Fullest is now in the pit doing pit fights.
Yeah. Can you explain this?
So I'm gonna guess he switched over to the double damage glitch. So that's probably the most important part of this, aside from the sword dodge skip. But he put the Virtuous Contract. We have 2 weapon slots, which are supposed to be used with all the weapons you pick up during casual play. But we put the Virtuous Contract, which is the sword we talked about earlier, in the heavy weapon slot for both weapon slots, and so we'll be able to throw out a damage glitch, switch weapon slots, and then throw out another one and keep doing it over and over again, so we just have a spinning sword or 2 spinning swords out at all times.
Yeah. So
essentially doubling our damage output.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really important. That only came about 2 or 3 months ago, and credits to Kasana for discovering that. It's really changed the way our combat works in this run. So Marble's just self-destructed just to get a few extra kills here, but I didn't explain this whole little fight here with all the robots. That was just a time fight, getting as much experience and kills as possible, and they can drop some pretty nice chips that we can use throughout the run.
You'll also be needing that experience
Yep.
later on, because we are going to be severely underleveled.
So you can see Marbles was using pod slow-mo technique there to try and get a quick cycle on this boss. Unfortunately it didn't go to plan, but that's just one of the examples where we can use it to slow down the boss immensely.
Also, a big difference between the 2 routes is that Marbles actually has some hand issues and he can't do the double damage glitch for the whole run. Somehow is still amazingly fast. So that's going to be a pretty big difference in the combat. You'll see Marble is going to be doing a lot more space-intensive stuff, especially against the next boss fight, and a lot of pod slow-mo and careful use of buffs and pod program.
Yep.
Marble's method is clearly the more skillful of the 2 methods.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just mashing. Yeah. I would never be able to do what Marbles does.
Well, you used to do it.
I couldn't. I never pulled off.
You can't go back.
Any of the real
looks like we're safe now.
quick cycles and stuff using that
What the hell
combat.
just happened?
They're still pretty close.
Double damage glitch does make a lot of the quick cycles a lot easier, because you just burst down the boss instantly with your same damage.
And some of them you can actually go slower because of that if you don't time it right. So Fullest is coming up, is doing a box skip, but it's a modified version if you've seen it before, and we're going to actually do a save scum now that we run the game loadless.
I can get it.
And the way that you do that is you push the box out 1.5, and then you do a pod launch, and then halfway through your pod launch, you just dash out of bounds through those rocks.
Gosh, it's terrible.
Raindrop's not on my end. I have 0 drop frames.
No. Oh, or not.
Oh,
run is,
okay.
not. No,
Well,
whatever. Just going as
basically,
normal.
So, the purpose of that skip is to clip out of bounds, and that means that we can avoid this dialogue trigger coming up here. And while you're in dialogue, you can't open the quick menu and save. So we avoid that dialogue, get within range of this transporter we activated earlier, if you remember, and quick save and then instantly load, and it takes us back to that transporter while saving our progress, and that just saves on foot travel time. About 20 seconds, I think. Alright, so Fullest is back in City Ruins, traveling to the amusement park. We've got some interesting stuff in the amusement park. See it when you get there, it's basically just dodging triggers and clipping out of bounds and all that good stuff.
It's gonna be pretty fun. The first one you'll see is he's going to be skipping a cutscene by doing what we explained earlier of the double lift off of a route over a cutscene.
We've tracked the location of their signal, so I need all Yorha units on the surface to head over and investigate. End transmission.
Oh, what?
I heard something about that back at the resistance camp.
Androids. We
Yeah.
should probably check. Looks like our surface route's been cut off. Maybe we can get through from them. So 2B, those machines.
I'm watching the stream and there's some weird
androids, right?
kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm seeing on both my and Marble's ends though.
Yeah.
Why would machines try to look
So
like
Fullest
us?
is. I probably already did it, but are you doing it now?
I suppose.
The let's play
I messed
skip.
it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm on the tail end of it.
Okay, yeah. So. Sorry,
Marble, you're doing great, especially the pit recovery. Panpipe says he loves you.
Thank you, Panpipe.
Yeah, the pit recovery is great.
I've had a lot of practice. Not by choice. Not by choice, but I've had a lot of practice.
This is good stuff, man. So should probably explain Let's Play Skip. It skips a short cutscene, and a little bit of zigzag.
It's a lot of technical work for not too much gain, but obviously we want to just save time, so gotta put in the hard yards. This skip is really annoying, especially for new players. Basically, with the out of bounds in this game, some of the time the floor, as it's depicted out of bounds, will be accurate. Other times there'll be floor there and it's just nothing, you can't stand on it. And then other times there'll be no floor and we're just kind of walking along an invisible floor. So really learning out of bounds, the most challenging part is learning where the floor is, where you can go, how you can accidentally clip back in and ruin your run, stuff like that. And there are a few soft locks as well, as Shabu knows quite well.
Oh,
rude. What a bully.
There's this game has the weirdest soft locks. So, sorry, tangent for just a second. I literally went to a quest one time, the correct way, talked to Commander, and she walked out the bunker and I couldn't move. I was 3 hours into an AD run.
I was racing you then.
Yeah, you were racing me. Anyways, we're coming into Beauvoir now. The roller coaster is just an auto-scroller.
Just really quickly, Twitch chat, are you getting our voices during the stuttering, or is it just completely cutting it off?
There's some weird. Yeah, I see it on VLC. as well. There's some weirdness going on.
We're just going to comment on Marble's stream because we can't really see Fullest at the moment.
Feels bad.
So Marbles is coming into probably the most hyped boss of this game. I think it was the main thing that was shown at E3 before this game's release. And it is a cool boss. Unfortunately, we kill it very quickly. Her name's Beauvoir or Simone, after the famous philosopher Simone Beauvoir. And we're basically going to be killing her, but trying not to kill her too quickly. Because if we
zero
she
cycle.
starts this Blades attack, then she'll choose another attack, and that one can go for even longer than Blades.
I got the zero cycle.
Luckily for Marble, it's kind of difficult for him to zero cycle.
Yeah,
he is a god,
but
I've gotten zero cycle one time, I believe, ever.
Wait, really? Without DDG? Dude, you're nuts.
I think it was in my PB, actually. I'm pretty sure it's in my PB.
If we take hacking damage, it'll affect our bodies as
It's
well.
either my most recent or...
I missed the days where we had to use slow-mo for DDG.
I did too.
That was good.
Are we seriously being attacked?
It made the combat really...
Dead androids?
I guess I can't SD.
Nice.
Okay, so Marbles has entered the hacking phase of Beauvoir. All these androids have spawned and they're shooting little rings or ground shockwaves. If they come into contact with Marbles, just like then, he'll go into this hacking minigame and it loses like 5-6 seconds. It's just really annoying. They tend to do it right when you're up in their faces, like just then.
Yeah, and it's
super frustrating when they do it.
The ring attacks, because especially if you get hit, it messes up the camera, and it makes you get hit by more of them. It's probably one of my least favorite parts in any percent.
Okay, so Beauvoir going down very quickly.
Fullest is on the way to Pascal, by the way.
Ethereum, the lasers was, that's a visual glitch. So one of the attacks that Beauvoir can use if you accidentally zero cycle her, like I did, is a laser as she spins around. But the lasers don't actually ever come out, and the lasers never go away.
So you'll see that Marble just SD'd at the end of Beauvoir. The reason for that is because after you SD, you usually spend some time like kind of slow stuttering, and the cutscene actually refreshes you and it makes you able to move totally normally. And he's going to be at like 1 health for the next while here. He's going to go to Pascal's village, and then he's going to go to Resistance Camp, and then from Resistance Camp he's actually going to get killed by, I think you still use animals. It's going to death warp him back because, interestingly enough, when you die, you don't lose your items in this game. So if you pick up a weapon or you pick up a quest item, you don't lose it when you die. So he'll end up back at Pascal's village with the quest item and be able to move faster.
So why don't the machines, or the aliens who created them, attack the bunker directly? They originally came here from outer space, right?
Well, there are a few theories about that, but no one knows for sure.
Any of you guys able to drop your bitrate just a bit for both of you?
I can, but I'll have to cut and restart.
Okay, don't bother them.
No, you don't have to cut.
Oh, I don't have to?
No, in OBS, you're using OBS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you change your bitrate, it will do it.
Oh, okay.
Live. Yeah,
Oh,
if
Lord.
both of you just pause and adjust your bitrate and then start at the same time, that'll make it fair, I think.
I just adjusted it.
What are
while
your
I was
guys'?
Oh, you just did it.
At?
Mine's only at 2,000.
Yours is at 2,000.
Mine was 3,000. I just lowered it to 2,500. I can lower it to 2,000 though if you want.
Time for your regularly scheduled contact.
You shouldn't need to. I mean, my internet can handle this easily. Like all day.
What's wrong?
So, it's not my internet, it's not your guys' internet. It's gotta just be the server.
That's unfortunate.
I'm wondering if it's like taxing the server, that's why.
It shouldn't be. We've done 4-player races before and it wasn't causing any issues. It might be literally like
I am definitely not
the service that we use to host the server might have like a huge influx of traffic right now or something.
Yeah, it should go away hopefully.
Alright.
You leaving would be bad
Anyway,
for me.
Marbles
It would
is on the
affect
way
mission
to Resistance
efficiency.
Camp with his pet boar that he just picked up with animal bait. Little Boris.
Marbles is actually running okay right now. What did you bump yours down to?
Mine's...
mine...
I didn't change mine. Mine's been 2,000.
So...
Try switching yours to 2,000 when you have a chance, Fullest.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, at least Marbles isn't freezing right now.
The Russian DDoS is coming. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with VLC. Most of my talking is off of.
Wait, how many people are watching VLC right now?
Just two.
Two.
Now do you believe we're not a threat?
Your mouth can say.
Shouldn't do it either.
So Marbles just did a death warp. He was on 1 health from the self-destruct, and so now he's going to be sent back to Pascal's with the quest item, and we can continue on. Just saves the backtrack there.
I just lowered to 2,000.
Yeah, it looks. Both of them look okay-ish now. They're not freezing completely, so.
It's stable.
Carry on.
Thank
Don't worry, Hans. The skirt will be gone again later in the run.
We'll have plenty of opportunities to remove the skirt. Just can't do it in a way that loses time, you know.
It makes this run sound so grimy. Don't worry, guys. Lots of opportunities. We've tested it. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we've timed it too.
We have. That's the sad part. So, Fullest is coming up on an actually really simple, in theory, skip. But in practice, it's actually just really finicky. And he's gonna just go up this ladder in a second here, and Angles, which you remember our boy Angles from Prologue. There's 2 of them here in the city, and he's gonna go up the ladder, and you're supposed to fight him on this area, and we're just gonna say, nah, we're not gonna fight the first one. So he's just gonna double jump on through the broken wall, and if he
flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead.
somehow misses that,
Nope,
knock on wood, he's gonna do the backup strat, which is double lift off of one of the rock pieces. So hopefully Marble gets the double jump, and we can actually see how that looks.
Yeah. So in the primary strat, just to be clear, you're going through the invisible wall. The devs just left a hole there for some reason. And in the backup strat, you're going over it. Alright, come on, Marbles.
I believe too.
Nice.
I'm gonna guess Marvel's got it. I'm not caught up yet. But by the way he said nice, you'll be seeing the correct version of that.
Very nice. Camera was a little wonky on that. It was kind of scary.
5 panpipes. Alright, thanks for stopping by.
So you'll see on Fullest stream he just killed Angles too. We didn't explain what he did, but you'll see it here with Marbles. So he's going to be using that pod program, swap pods, pod program sequence. And it's going to instantly kill this Angles because he is up front in his face. And all of the missile bullets which swirl outwards around 2B, they all hit Angles if you're up that close. So he is doing massive damage, swapping pods, and then doing another chunk of massive damage, and Angles just can't take it.
And on the left, Fullest is going to be doing he's going to be setting up Skype glitch, which is interesting and kind of a semi-controversial glitch, being that it's banned a couple runs. Because it actually stays on your file until you quit out of the game. So you can start a new game and still have Skype glitch. But basically you cut off Commander going down into these underground caves, and it makes it so that when the video thing pops up and they're talking to 2B and 9S, the commanders or the
You're not much for plans,
6-0
are
or
you,
2-10.
TV?
It makes the load thing not show up, and it makes the talking way faster, or start faster.
Basically cuts 2 seconds off all Skype-based dialogue.
What is this place?
I don't know.
If you had it on for a whole run by accident, which is banned in our rules, then the prologue would be a lot faster because there's just a lot of waiting for dialogue.
You.
2B, look out! My name
So this is the Adam and Eve fight. Adam we fought earlier. If you haven't played the game, these are 2 very sexy men. And that's the important thing.
Wiped out.
Sorry?
Who knows?
They are wearing pants now, at least.
Yeah, they are wearing pants.
Machines are weapons capable of
So Eve is the one we're fighting here in the foreground. He is Adam's brother. And this is basically just a timed fight. We want to get at least 1 kill on Eve, because only the first kill gives experience. I'm not sure whether the devs expected players to actually be able to kill Eve within this time period, but of course we can because we're Superman. So yeah, we're going to be getting a huge chunk of experience from killing Eve, and then both players are going to be trying to clip out of the arena. Let's see if Fullest it here. Yep, so Fullest clipped out, and we can't actually end this early. We have to sit through all this dialogue because we haven't found a way to cancel it yet. But he's going to be exiting the arena and killing some extra mobs for experience. And what this also does is that on the backtrack, we'll be able to dash swing, where if the mobs were still alive, we'd only be able to chain dashes together. Because dash swing auto targets enemies, and if enemies are in the way, then, you just can't dash swing. If there's a bit of time save.
Yeah. And if Fullest is fast enough built, I'm gonna guess he's probably gonna pick up the titanium alloys.
Are you insane?
Fullest.
No,
Contract level 3.
So I don't go for that.
Okay. If Fullest was running in English, he would be picking up a chest over there and trying to upgrade the sword again, but since it's in Japanese, we have a harder time.
I do not know the names of the other upgrade materials that are required for a level 3 sword.
Yeah.
So Marble also made it out. He's killing the
Back this way again? What a pain.
Stop complaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that mandatory boss fight's done, they're just going to head down to the transporter here, and we've now unlocked fast travel, which is great.
About time we had access to
it makes a lot of difference in getting to places as quickly as possible in the run. And we also, do we abuse fast travel anymore to do like wacky stuff?
We've talked about a lot of it, but like mom skip we talked about, but you would have had to pick up the transporter.
There's the thing after A2.
Yeah, there's the thing after A2. We fast travel to Pascal. Which we're gonna do a skip getting over an invisible wall.
That then the of your
So both players are now going to be transporting to Pascal's village. I think Fullest is already there. And from here, they're going to be doing probably the biggest item buy of the game. They're going to be selling some stuff, including the small attack buffs that they bought earlier, and also some system chips to make room for offensive chips. So the system chips do things like display enemy health, display pod program on screen, show you the minimap, stuff like that. It's not necessary for us, but most casual players wouldn't take that stuff off.
Yeah. The only thing you really... Well, there's actually 2 things I think we figured out that we don't want to get rid of, and that's enemy health bar doubles like the title screen for a lot of bosses for some reason when you take it off and deal too much damage. And you can't take out your OS chip or else you'll end the game.
Yep.
And get one of the joke endings.
So I don't think we ever explained attack buffs, did we? Or any buffs?
No, actually we didn't.
Probably should do that. These buffs are items that you use basically in all the combat throughout the run. Well, some bits that aren't dependent on how quickly you kill things, we don't use them for. But yeah, we are very reliant on them. They give us a huge DPS boost. So the offensive ones give you double damage, and the defensive ones halve the damage you take.
And Marble just did a really small skip, by the way, a little bit back. You noticed some weird movement. That wasn't just for showing off. It skipped a very short, unskippable cutscene. Call that mom skip, because it's a baby robot arguing with his mother, and you just do. It's actually a pretty precise skip. It looks really easy when you see these guys do it because they're awesome and they're pros, but yeah, it's a lot of movement chains that you don't normally do. So yeah, and we're gonna do one of the dialogue skips that we talked about earlier. Brings up the dialogue, walks through there. So you would normally be hearing Pod talk about all this fun stuff, but instead you just go straight into this fight.
Yep, saves about 10 seconds.
This guy, he's just running away.
Did you guys see those chips?
No, what'd you get?
2 crit plus 2s and like a bunch of others.
That must be nice. Must be nice.
Did you?
I had
what did
0.
You get?
I had 0.
Oh, no.
I don't even have any offensive.
I'm there now.
Whatever.
Oh.
Resilience. Okay.
Just take out the OS chip, dude. End it.
Oh, good thing I was practicing with just resilience.
Looks like the forest is just ahead.
So this is actually a sorry, this is a pretty big difference between the runs now. Chips are another aspect of the run that are actually very RNG. There's very little RNG included in this any percent run, but chips and then a couple boss attacks are. But
you just be careful.
I will, 2B.
Yeah. So unlike other games, the crit chips in this game give you 500 times the damage when they proc, and that is absolutely huge. So if you haven't played the game, the chips are like they come at a base level, which is +0, and if you're lucky, you'll get drops from high level enemies, which are like +1, 2, 3, all the way up to +8, I think, for some chips. And each level of the crit chip increases the capacity that it takes up when you equip it, but it also increases the chance to crit. So the +0 gives 1% chance to deal 500% damage, and it ends up being a lot. So that's a 5% damage increase overall. With 2 + 2 chips like Fullest had, you have 6% chance to deal 5 times the damage, and that is absolutely huge. That's 30% damage increase overall. On top of the double damage glitch that we're already abusing, that is just phenomenal damage. We also have taunt and attack buffs as well.
And we said we'd explain resilience when they equipped it, so
yeah.
We also just had a string of. This is actually, we can explain resilience after this. This is a pretty important string of exploits here.
So basically, they just clipped out in the courtyard of the castle. This is the main skip in the forest. They clipped out all of this area is out of bounds. You see some assets aren't visible while you're out of bounds, and so they basically just went all the way up to A2's room, climbing those windows that the devs nicely left for us. And that, how much time does that save, Marble?
I believe it was like 4-5 seconds.
2B.
Yeah, the castle, if you remember playing it casually, it takes quite a while.
Yeah.
This unit is currently wanted by Yorha.
Okay, so this is quite an intense fight with A2, another android. She has the same movesets that we would have if we had her items, her weapons. So she acts like a player, she attacks very quickly, she does a lot of damage, especially when she's taunted. You can die very easily if you're not careful. And also, she has these long strings of attacks which just chain you into evade dodging, which is very annoying for us.
Luckily for us, though, we have a chip called Resilience.
Yeah, it doesn't stop evades, but thankfully it stops us from being staggered. So, whenever we're above 70% health, 80%.
Let's go after
I forget what it is.
Maybe 80.
We will no longer be staggered by attacks, which means we can cast a damage glitch, go through the animation, get hit, and it won't stop the damage animation. So that's incredibly useful for us.
So Marble's gonna go over this. You actually don't. You went over the dialogue entirely. Good job. Usually you're stopped by dialogue and then sent back into the room if you try to go that way, but you just do a quick hop, skip, and a jump over it, and then you can transport back to Pascal's village.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a really long
yeah, it's like 2
dialogue.
minutes.
Yeah, it is really long. Mimic Chest asked, "Are you winning, son?" If either of you know who Mimic Chest is.
Let's stay sharp.
I do not.
I'm winning.
But if you're asking
Thanks for
me,
the
I am
support, Mimic
definitely
Chest.
not winning.
I think I'm the only one who's winning here.
Never winning.
Excuse me, Norris.
Hey,
I also
Babu
feel like
has
I'm
like
winning.
almost every macro, so he's still winning.
Don't you
MarbleSoda
dare!
has the
Don't you
other
dare
macro
bring that up,
record.
Marble! Don't you dare take my pride and joy from me, then bring it up. We're about to go into the best part of the run, everyone's favorite part.
Oh, the best part.
Oh, it's so great!
I'm
But right
pissed.
before that, you're gonna see
Machines are
skip
the enemy.
into
Don't forget it.
the
Oh, it should- this
ocean
looks
area,
anyway.
which is called Flooded City. And the skip to actually get into Flooded City is super duper easy. You just jump in between these boxes and these like weird terminal things, and you just kind of flip out because you know QA. And so originally you would have just gone in, seen the cutscene, but now we have a way to do this where you do a double plunge, which is fairly technical, but they're super cool. And he's gonna activate the cutscene, skip it, and then he's gonna void out, and then he's gonna do another double plunge towards the
Let's take him out
other
already
direction
so I can be home
if he
in
got
time
the
for
double
dinner and a
plunge,
bath.
which is just gonna
So,
go over.
If you've seen Mario Kart time trials or anything like that, sometimes you'll see the racers, they'll fly off the track or whatever at a certain angle, and they'll actually go into another respawn zone. So the game detects you're in that zone, and then it says, "Oh, you just fell off the track. Let me put you back where you were." Since you went into the other respawn zone, it thinks that you were originally somewhere where you were not, just because you managed to fly off the track far enough. That's basically what we're doing there. He went from this high out of bounds position to another place, just kind of near where our destination was, but not quite far enough. And the game picked up on that, said, "Hey, you're close enough. You must have fallen off from your destination place." And puts us back right there. That saves a lot of time.
Alright, we're coming up to RuneSkip. I just say it in hopes that someone will one day bust it out. And by RuneSkip, I mean I'm gonna not. Anyways, so we're just gonna. Marvel actually has a really good Rune Shmup segment, except for he forgets one wave every single time.
I agree.
Every time. But I've seen it enough times because for some reason whenever I tune into your stream, it's always Rune.
It's the longest segment of the game. It's the most.
It's the most likely to hop in on. It's what, 15 minutes?
Like 50% of the run.
That sounds
Hopefully not.
excessive. I hope you're not that bad, Fullest.
Also, if I was a little farther ahead, I would have fished up Pod B there.
Yeah.
I've just been bleeding time most of the time, so I'm not worried about my time.
You'll be fine.
You guys are way ahead of estimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're still.
I'm not ahead enough to want to rely on Pod B though.
No, I understand that. Despite being macro world record holder and having the best RNG out of everyone.
So what they're talking about, Pod B, we have these pods, including the one we picked up in the desert, Pod C. There's another one that you can fish up in the waters near the flooded city, but it's complete RNG. It's about a 10% chance, according to some very brief statistics that we took.
Brief statistics.
It's not a very good chance to get it on your first try. But it's nice to have.
It makes certain parts of the run incredibly quick. And that's something that nobody really does seriously, is fish for pod feed. Except for me. But I'm bad at the game, so
Oh, Shavu, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Stop.
But,
so, honestly, this is pretty much just auto-scroller city. There is actually a fair amount of skill, in my opinion, to handling the shmup sequences and memorizing the waves and stuff like that, but it just doesn't necessarily look that exciting. They'll be using a lot of the double pod programs and stuff like that to get through it as quickly as possible, because, you know, everyone wants to get through it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because they're speedrunning.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, are we speedrunning?
Are we trying to go fast?
I must have missed the memo. I'm
Serious
sorry.
question.
No one is answering me.
Wait, I'm still picking up a large enemy presence.
Didn't I kill that already?
So, since we just did the Goliath fire, there's one other thing, because I believe still have the AI on balance, right?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Oh, you have it on passive?
Yes.
No.
So basically, the Goliath Flyer, I lose a little bit of damage on it because I run my AI on passive. So basically, my AI will do nothing. Reason for that is any kills that your ally gets do not give you experience. So I like not having that risk in my run.
So basically, Marble is talking about how much of a god he is by running without DDG for like the first 50 minutes of the run, or actually longer, hour
10?
Hour 10-ish, yeah. And then having his partner on passive. So you just like, I don't know how you're so, I don't get it.
Racing a literal god, that's why I'm going to lose, I guarantee it.
You're not gonna lose.
Dude, once Marble puts on DDG and goes Super Saiyan, it's over, dude, you know it.
The true Super Saiyan.
I'm just gonna whip out that slow-mo too.
The DDG pod slow-mo. Do you have anything to say, Kanaris, during our wonderful Green segment?
I was just going to mention that the experience is really important, mainly for the final boss. We hope to be level 20 by the end of the run, and the difference between level 19 and level 20 in terms of DPS is about 8%. So it's fairly significant. It's going to amount to more than just a few seconds, I think. But yeah, it's really good if we can get level 20 by the end of the run. It happens most runs, especially now that we've found more places we can get bonus experience without losing time. But yeah, if 9S takes one of these mini-boss kills in this shmup, like if you don't have him on passive like Marble does, then he can take the kills, and then, you know, that's a huge chunk of experience you're not getting. So that's really the only worry for this part, where it's purely
one site, it's two on the MVs.
Yeah, so these called aren't auto-scroller, so they're kind of important. The way it works is you have to destroy 4 mini-cores that are orbiting around the main core, and then once those are down, the main core becomes vulnerable, and you can take it out. But
believe it or not, they, sorry, go on.
The thing is, this is horrible for RNG. I feel like about 30% of the time it gives you bad RNG that you can do nothing about. Basically, after one attack cycle's been through, so the mini ones do the attacks. After one attack cycle's been through, they orbit around a slot, and it's RNG which mini orbs go to which position, and only 2 of the positions are vulnerable. So if you kill 2 and then the last 2 remaining go into the invulnerable positions, that's terrible RNG, because you just have to sit there waiting.
Don't worry, we'll take it from here.
And this actually used to be worse, believe it or not, but because resilience is amazing, you can just kind of tank a lot of the lasers or damage and continue attacking the small ones, so it gives a little bit more of a lenient kind of fight there.
All the EMP shielding in the world won't help against close-range mortar fire.
Got it.
So this is another special little thing that Platinum's put into their game. Not your typical 3D action style mechanic, but we're going to be using this for one time only. There's this rail cannon positioned on the shore, and we're going to try to kill Grun using it. So it's basically, we have no control over our aim. 9S is supposed to be helping us aim, but he's pretty trash.
He's not very good at it.
Luckily, we can just kind of spam fire and just get all 3 lasers in his mouth at one time while it's still open. Otherwise, you'd have to wait for him to open his mouth again. But
so just like the hacking sequences, that's like a interesting little thing that Platinum's put in the game. It's really cool how they have all these different gameplay mechanics and perspective types. Like this shoot 'em up section, you wouldn't find this shit in Dark Souls. And that's often what this game is compared to a lot. It even shares some of the same weapon swapping mechanics.
I remember playing through casually, I just love the amount of variety. There's shoot 'em ups, there's like roguelike sections, there's some cool platforming type stuff.
There's puzzles
it really employs all kinds of different styles, and then there's, you know, arcade type sections with just really neat, very unique, really fun.
And the important thing is that not any of those styles have been, you know, just half done. They're all really high quality. They've all had heart put into them by the devs, and that's just really phenomenal.
The flight sequences especially have apparently had a lot of love put into them, because we cannot find any way out of them. We've tried so many times. But man, they're just a lot of love. That's all I gotta say.
The Platinum's favorite child. Yeah. They'll let you skip everything else, but they won't let you skip the shmups. Alright, so this is floor number 2 of 3 that Marble's coming up to. I think Fullest is currently 5.
Fullest has just finished done. 4-2. So we're nearing the end of Grun-ish. Got a little shmup sequence again that we're gonna kill 4-3 and the plot is gonna happen. So Marble did unfortunately get the bad RNG, as you'll see. It went up into a position that he couldn't grab, and so he switched over to Pod C, just the missile ones, and that actually auto locks on it, so he's gonna uses that to get a little bit of extra damage and make the next cycle a little bit easier to get.
Casually, I love this boss. It's so good, and I still love the music.
Yeah.
But for a speed run, I think one of the most frustrating parts of it for a speedrunning is you can't really practice it. Like, you can load up a save before Grun and then go into Grun and do the whole 15-minute sequence, but you only get one shot at each of the mini-bosses. If you want to practice something or like try to find a new cool strat, it's gonna take you a long time. Because you just have to sit through the whole thing over and over again to get more attempts.
Which is why Grun is one of the less optimized areas. We've tried, but I guess there's not really a whole lot optimized, but except for learning the waves.
Yeah.
I think Marble does a great job, personally. I'm always impressed by Marble's Grun. Especially with
combine Marbles and my travel shmup on the way over there. Came up with some cool strats on my recent PV. Okay, so Marbles is coming up to the third and final floor.
wonder if they had a plan for a fourth one, because I'm always curious when I see that one under there. I'm like, does that one not matter?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are a few more down there. Maybe it just weakened him enough to get something through.
Yeah, possibly.
NieR Gestalt any %.
That's pretty cool.
Hey Mash, how do we get those bonus runs? Because there's not a donation incentive, is there? Seeing as we don't have donations.
2B to bunker. Come in. Over.
Operator to 2B?
So Marble's going to pick up this skill cell, and a lot of people will actually buy skill cells during a dialogue skip that we do later on. But both players actually don't buy skill cells anymore. Fullest just doesn't buy them, and Marble picks them up on the way.
8 hours?
So the bonus runs, eh? How did we get them?
We're having trouble getting them back online, which means data uploading
Well,
is
some of them were
currently
backup
unavailable in some
submissions,
areas.
and some of them were additions in the last couple hours.
We picked up a faint black box
Okay,
reading,
so
but it wasn't strong
they're
enough
actually
to
gonna
lock down his
happen?
position.
Like guaranteed?
Yep.
Oh, sick. Are you doing the OG NieR one?
Yeah, I'm doing OG NieR even though I haven't really played it in the last while.
That's cool.
That'll be a nice chill run at least.
We're coming up to what I kind of think of as a gauntlet of skips.
I need you to scan
This is one of the hardest skips in the game, despite being one of the less technically intensive ones. Just copied city skip. And wow, that was perfect.
However, a dynamic
Really
scanner is
perfect.
required for detection of weaker signals.
Yeah, nice job, Marbles.
That was really good.
Yeah. Basically, we just thrust our sword forwards, and that has a lot of what we call pushing power. It has the power to clip us through the wall. I can probably explain exactly how it works, but we don't have much time to explain this next bit. But yeah, the angle you needed for that clip is very, very precise.
This area is composed of crystallized
I'll also explain this next bit coming up.
What's with the corpses?
Here we're supposed to be fighting Adam from earlier. This is just a straight one-on-one, no Eve. Now he has 3 phases. The first phase is just dialogue. We can't deal any damage to him and we have to wait till the dialogue's over. As soon as the dialogue's finished, we progress to the second phase. So what Marble's doing here is clipping out of the arena, and we won't actually be leaving this area called Copied City. We're just going to be going back to the elevator, and then once we get to the elevator, we're waiting for a certain point during the dialogue. So the dialogue is also split up into 3 chunks. If you cancel one chunk, it goes on to the end of that chunk and starts on the next chunk of dialogue. So we're waiting for the 3rd chunk, which is the largest, and then we're going to walk into this elevator and then walk right back out. And what that does is plays Pod's own dialogue, which overrides Adam's dialogue. So it basically just deletes the whole 3rd chunk of the dialogue, and then the phase ends.
I know.
And this part's actually really scary, because... Ooh, nice. Okay. You can actually get stuck in that elevator, and just be stuck in there. It's a soft block. So if the doors close on you, it's rip.
Alright, so second phase now, which is combat, trying to get him to a certain health threshold as quickly as possible. You'll see now that Marbles has Adam talking, because we have subtitles down the bottom there. And so once Adam finishes his short little laughing bit, we move on to the 3rd phase.
Marble,
this
do you
phase
not...
is...
Sorry, do you not switch to DDG here? I thought you switched to DDG.
After factory skip.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry about that.
All good.
Adam is a very scary fight. You would walk into the arena in your first playthrough and see these dead bodies littered all over the place. I was scared shitless when I came in here. I was just like, what the f. But for speedrunners, it's not too bad. We do pick up defensive buffs. Now Marbles tried to do a dialogue skip here, but unfortunately he messed it up, and it's a one-time thing, so he's just gonna head on. Did you pick up skill salves anywhere else?
Yes, I picked up the skill salves where we used to. So yeah, I get the
behind Pascal.
Yeah, I get the Pascal one and the poster. Yeah, this is one of those reasons. Then I can just go ahead and do what was the old route before we found that. I don't lose much time.
And you know what old strats mean?
Yep.
The skirt comes off.
So
it actually saves about a second.
You guys can put 2 booty in the chat.
Proposal.
But,
procure information from the machine life form known as Pascal.
There we go. Thanks, Knars.
2 boofies.
2 boofy.
Hey, can I get some 2 boofies in the chat?
Hello, 2B. Do you need something?
I need to know if you've seen
Nicely done.
I love it. He's also going to be able to pick up a little bit of extra XP here, just from these guys on the bridge.
By some machines that disconnected themselves from the network.
Ah, too goofy, man. Alright.
No kidding.
Apparently, they're seeking to form an alliance of some kind with
Did you do the skirt thing?
Why don't they move
Fullest?
I did.
So that's a little bit faster. You look up to the skirt and she pushes the camera away and kind of moves forward a little bit. So during that slow walking section with Pascal,
I think I can get it again here. Yeah.
Maybe
It's kind of an Easter egg in the game. If you look up 2B's skirt, she doesn't want you to look up her skirt, so she pushes the camera away and steps a little bit away. Turns out that's a little faster than her walking though, so you intentionally look up her skirt.
So there is that, and there's also an old strat we used to use where we get here early, and then we self-destruct, and the stumbling animation from the self-destruct is faster than the walking during this Pascal talking sequence.
and Marble's going to do both.
Yep.
Wow, the combo!
The strat,
wow!
Row wow!
Row wow.
Yeah, doing that 5 times is an achievement. For those of you that don't know.
Alright, so we had Forest earlier, which has a ton of skip stuff. We didn't really get to explain it much, but that was the second most condensed area of the run in terms of skips. Coming up now, we have a skip I like to call silo skip. Others call it deep factory skip or whatever. It is, in its entirety, it's the hardest skip we have in the game. There's a lot of stuff going on, you can mess it up in a lot of different ways, and the actual input sequences are pretty complicated. But basically, we're going to be fighting in this room against all these religious mooks, and they're going to try to kill us. There are like 30 to 40 of them, and we have to kill a set number of them, and then an elevator opens on the other side of the room. So what we're going to be doing is riding the elevator down. Once we get to the bottom, we hit a mandatory progress trigger, and then normally you couldn't ride the elevator back up to this room, but we're going to be doing a little trick down there out of bounds to refresh the elevator's state so that we can go back in. Yeah, we can go back in the elevator and ride it back up. Once we get back up to this room, we'll be able to clip out of here and plunge down to a different area of this this factory, and we'll hit another progress trigger. And I'll explain that bit when we come to it, because it's a little bit more complicated. But this part here that Marbles was doing is just killing stuff as quickly as possible. This is also another area where we get tons of experience. We do have a skip for this that saves about 6 or 7 seconds, but it pretty much guarantees that you're not going to hit level 20 by the end of the run. So I don't think anyone's going for it in their runs yet.
I do go for D1 9S room. Flag.
If you want to. It's the most fun one.
It is the most fun one. It looks so
I mean,
cool
I'm
too.
far enough behind, like, I mean, sure, why not? See if I can remember these bits.
I mean, Fullest, you're not that far behind.
Oh, I messed up part 2 twice already.
So,
Pascal, stop pushing me off.
Marbles here is doing some swaggy moves.
Oh no, I didn't get.
Oh.
Almost.
Just do the normal one.
Rip everyone. So he's basically
I
just
missed.
I can even do the regular.
Yeah.
And so this is different from Fullest too, because Marble has the bare fist. So he
that
can
enables him
to plunge.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
There we go.
Hey, can I get some in chat in all caps? Thanks. Alright, so now you see Marbles is riding the elevator back up. He did eventually get out of bounds.
Alright, Fullest got it.
So he's in a this is the highest up room of this factory section. So from here you can hit pretty much every other point by clipping out here and doing some fancy aerial movement. He's going to be hitting a progress trigger here, but there's a mechanic in the game where, hold on, if you're falling for long enough, the game thinks, oh, this shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? Let's put you back at your last grounded position. So it does just that. He basically times his falling such that he hits the mandatory trigger, but right before he hits the ground and lands, he gets avoided out. And so he gets put back up into that high room, but the game remembers that he's hit that trigger.
And just like that, they're within... What?
They're really close to each other.
Yeah, they're within 20 seconds of each other.
This skips probably one of my least favorite parts of this game, which is the crushers, which are one-shot deaths no matter what.
Oh yeah, they're awful.
People used to hate them. And now we have something equally difficult, but doesn't kill you if you mess up.
I remember running crushers, just, dashing and praying.
Just for the record, they don't matter for Marble because he's Superman and he never died to crushers.
Yeah, Marbles is a god.
There was
Marble
one
used to
time.
just dash through and then, the crusher would come down on top of him and he would just get squeezed out
It just
the side.
pushed me, yeah. It was kind of silly.
This is nuts, dude. But remember how Let's travel back to the very beginning of the run, when they were on top of the pipe, and I said that there was one other time that they did an out of bounds just to avoid getting hit. Well, here it is.
Hang in there, 2B.
Yep.
90%.
Doesn't really save time, just...
This boss, Soshi, is quite jealous of us right now. He wishes he could be up here with us, having a great time.
Do you guys use music cues?
I do.
I use a counting cue.
But I could hear it anyway, so it's all good.
Okay, that's good. So a lot of people use different cues to know when that invincibility section is going to go down, so they start taunting, and then there is a certain amount of time before you can actually fall down from that hanging animation. It's basically like a void out. And so you'll notice that they're not hitting the legs, which you probably did if you played this casually, and that's because breaking a leg actually loses quite a bit of time on this boss, and on the next version of the ball. Try to never keep their names straight if I'm being honest with you, that's why I call them that.
Soshi and Bokushi.
And then there's Roshi and Koshi. I don't know, dude, there's...
Rokushi.
Yeah.
So you can see
balls.
Now that this section's done, we've officially left the deep factory, and we're back in the normal factory. And this is the exact same area as prologue. You didn't get to see this area in the prologue because we skipped it without a bounds. But now that we've been put halfway into it, we're just gonna get to this area, which you did see, and do pretty much the same out of bounds. Performed a little differently because the game's auto lock-on means that we have to position such that we won't fling ourselves into the lava. But yeah, for the most part it's the same. And so we're done with factory now.
And now we've got a boss rush kind of gauntlet here.
I had no idea such a vast space existed beneath the abandoned factory. I need to return.
And this is where a lot of the double damage glitch stuff is going to come in, and resilience as well. And also the fact that we picked up 2 bloods here is pretty significant. Only for the final boss, really.
I'm
But
heading back to the
it's
resistance
really
camp.
good.
What about you?
I'll probably wander back to the village.
And then you'll be seeing Marble's skill subs that he picked up coming into play in the last boss as well.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing some cool kind of attack type stuff that you wouldn't see any other part of the run on the last boss as well on Fullest end. I don't know how much you do the pod launch strats, Marble.
I try to. I don't always get a lot of them on. I at least attempt it.
Oh. Not good.
Why are their numbers
Natsu said
like
disco
this?
ball man without resilience.
Try contacting the bunker via laser
Not like
relay
this.
system.
I've never heard him called disco ball man. That's pretty funny.
We're also seeing some pretty impressive zigzags here from Marble.
Hey, you know me.
The likes of which I've never seen before.
You know
I've
me.
never seen Marble zigzag this much in my life.
So one of the most important things in speedrunning where you can actually move a character is going directly from one point to the next.
2 beelines. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. I love that fun. We should do more.
I know. I don't want to make the viewers throw up.
You know they want it.
Oh, the zigzag commands are coming out.
So go ahead. This is just one of the end game fights that we have to do. It's just a side scroller section, and again, the game really excels at providing the player with heaps of different perspectives, and all the different attacks that we have, all the different abilities, they directly translate from one perspective to the other, which is honestly just amazing. I love that they did that. So it's pretty much like normal combat, but on a side-on view.
Yeah, the switching between perspectives is just done so seamlessly well. So Marble has positioned himself in such a way where he's getting actually pushed by the leg, so that he doesn't break a leg and just stays in front of the ball.
Yeah.
Fullest is doing core buffs. Marble got a little bit unlucky there.
Okay, so that's another place where we earn a bit of extra experience for no time cost. So he just self-destructed right as he was waiting for the fight to end after dealing with
recoveries.
Recoveries, please.
You're making me so nervous.
You know me.
I know, but I also do know.
Oh my god. This was not a good position.
Disco ball.
Really bad position.
Oh yeah, so if you just heard my stream just now, Pascal just got attacked by dinosaurs. There's no way we can save him.
Yeah, it's over. A little bit of extra XP there for Marble. And that little cannibal stubby.
What do we do?
So now you got the snake dude.
Toby, can you hear me?
I remember when I was learning this game, it always gave me trouble.
Come in, Pascal.
Because it's never explained very well.
Yep. Man, we should really have like a in-depth guide or something, huh?
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it just said go towards the trees, then attack it, and I was like, ah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really understand it that well back then when that was written.
Yeah.
And we still don't entirely understand it. But it's a lot easier now with double damage glitch.
You're here too.
It's very forgiving now.
Yeah.
This is just
You're
a lot
actually
of...
going for one cycle.
Yeah, so
Zero cycle. Yeah, go ahead.
this is, again, just a very heavy combat sequence. And it really puts your combat to the test. And if you do the snake actually at the wrong time, it'll land on top of... That was weird. Anyways, it'll actually land on top of that grate, and you can't really attack it very well there. So this is just a lot of clean combat. Then they're gonna go as quickly as they can down into that pit that we saw earlier,
If we destroy this
and
will it
we're
stop the
gonna
rest?
kill someone's brother.
Yes.
Pod, I need
Hey,
you to
grand old
locate
time.
Eve's current position.
So coming up to the final boss now.
We'll take care of Eve.
You just worry about keeping the village safe, okay?
Oh, Fullest is already quite a way into it. So Eve is really pissed off that we killed Adam. But, you know, now we gotta kill him because he's an idiot. So he has 4 phases. The first one is probably the most intense for a lot of people. He has this attack he can go into within a certain HP threshold. So if he starts an attack when he's like below 60% but above 30%, he can choose an attack called Platforms. And he basically goes high up into the air and we have to go up there and hit him a bunch. It really just wastes a lot of time. So we can skip that by taking him from above 60% to below 30% while he's doing another attack. So then he won't choose that attack. Second phase, we're waiting for NieR to hack into him. It roughly correlates to where his health is compared to his maximum health.
And what you saw Marble do, it looked like the hacking thing kind of stopped moving. You have to just kind of bump NieR a little bit and it'll go back to hack. Now it starts to... You can explain this part.
Go on.
This is probably one of the most annoying parts of the game is actually the next phase in my opinion, but we used to impact bracers. Ooh. You're definitely better at explaining this.
Okay, so like, it's really important for both this phase and the next phase to be able to not be affected by being hit. So that's that stagger resistance we talked about. Basically it lets us pod launch at Eve to get in his face and melee attack him, which does a ton of damage. It lets us do that rather than being knocked out of the air by an enemy projectile. So that's one benefit of having resilience. Another is that because in the next phase we get every ability taken away from us except for pod fire and walking slowly along the ground, we're really at the mercy of the RNG that Eve decides to give us. So if he decides to go close to us and blast us in the face, that means we'll get hit, we'll be staggered, and we can not pod fire while we're staggered. So we'll lose DPS there.
Time's coming up there for Fullest, I believe.
Yeah, very close.
Say time, Fullest.
Eve detached from the network.
Oh, well, time, I guess.
Good job, Fullest.
Time's coming up for Marble.
Data from the bunker.
But you'll lose you, the you that exists at this very moment.
Guess so, but we can't upload this corrupted
I was
data to
at
the bunker.
probably 132.50 something.
Yeah, 132.55.
I skipped that one. I'm gonna skip it because I don't want to watch that cutscene. I usually watch it.
Yeah. The credits music is really, really good.
Oh, it is.
It is.
And we have 7 minutes.
Let's listen to the credits music for us instead of Android whimpering.
Yeah.
I could do Marky Proud and show off the old fuck skip. I do have a save file for that.
Which one is it?
The old the robot cutscene skip.
Oh god, no, don't do stubby skips.
You don't want to see. Oh
no, I don't want to ever relive trying to do that in A to Z.
Are they the desert housing ones?
Yeah, the desert housing ones.
Oh, those
they were
skips, I've never been able to do them.
Dude, that was so good.
Those were pretty cool. I liked them.
A lot of the old skips were really fun. Anyways, do you guys have any thank yous you want to throw out there?
Yeah. One, two, you can go first.
Who's going first? There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be thanking the same people.
Yeah, probably.
I'll go ahead and say, basically, thanks for watching. All the viewers are nice. I loved on this game. A lot of fun. The time was not so great, but...
you guys doing more stuff? Or should I get ready for the next problem?
You can get ready
yeah,
for
you
the next
can
one.
get
You
ready.
guys are just plugging.
Oh, okay. Cool. We'll finish plugging.
Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. This community, this was actually my first game that I've ever picked up to speedrun, and community definitely kept me around. Everyone is fantastic. Yeah, we have a great Discord server. Very helpful if you're looking to learn a run. We always have people available, and really cool to see a community that is still active and so willing to help. It was a huge deal for me. If I didn't have a community like this when learning, probably wouldn't have gotten as far as I did. So thanks for all of that.
And thank you ARPGME for including our game. We love this game.
Oh, yeah,
we spent
too.
a lot of time playing it, and we're so happy that we could show it off to a larger community.
I'm glad you guys could bring it to us.
I'm just going to shout out to a few people in particular. Fog, thank you so much for organizing all the tech stuff. We use an auto splitter for this run. He organized that. We use load list for this run. He also organized that. He also made practice saves and the save importer to deal with Automata's weird save management system. So thank you so much for that, Fog. Thank you, Marky, for discovering like a large majority of the saves that we use. Lately, it's been he hasn't been involved much, which is fair because it's kind of run dry with old skips. But yeah, he has saved us many minutes. And basically just everyone in the community, like Marble, AB3, Archelac, Blue Metal, Fog, Fullest, Half Coordinated, Hollow, Icefire. Icefire's our big daddy. He's awesome. He's a god.
Yes, Icefire's daddy.
Kasana, Maki, Mortalities, MT, Ethereum, Natsukashi, Panpipes, Remetsu. Remetsu's another god. Please come
Remetsu's
back.
God.
Remetsu, we miss you.
I miss Remetsu. I need Remetsu to take back the A to Z title. The fact that
Remetsu also came up with a lot of the crazy different combat stuff that we've done, really. Like he changed a lot of the boss fights to make them a lot quicker. And then also Rainy, Ryanide, another early Shabu, Vulcan, Celestia, and Mash.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, and shout
Awesome
out to
race, by the way, guys. Awesome race. Congrats, Fullest.
Yay.
Good stuff, guys.
The right to be fast. He has the right. He has the title.
I mean, he is higher
we
than
should
me
give
on
him that.
leaderboard, so.
We should give him the role got to be the fastest, or something like that.
I think that's Canaris, though.
Yeah, but I mean, was it a race? Was he fastest at races?
I was racing against the depressing aspects of my own life. Sure.
Wow.
So
Alright,
Daenerys.
guys, I'm gonna send us over to intermission.
Alright.